Now, the FP3 is here. Oh my god. See, Formula 1 is the only place in which you can play games with your car, play different types of games and get away with it. Now, today, for like 10 minutes, no driver came out because it is 13 degrees higher than yesterday. It was about 33, 34 degrees today. And during the representative time yesterday, we were having about 20, 21 degrees in the evening. But the 13 degrees, Lewis Hamilton came out, set some time, went back. The other drivers started coming out. So we saw a lot of drivers coming out, setting better times. And track evolution came up. The times got better. But I think most of the teams like Red Bull and Mercedes were doing setup changes, looking at what they can do to improve their long run, especially Mercedes. That is what they really came to do, especially on soft tires. The Ferrari came up with Carlos Sainz doing 1:38 tenths, which was a good time, followed by Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. These are not the representative time because before the end of the session, the temperature dropped about 4 degrees into 29, 28 degrees. But the main thing and the main point is this. We are seeing a very, very strong qualifying. And the qualifying is between the Mercedes, the Ferrari, the Aston Martin, and the Red Bull. McLaren, yeah, they will be in the mix. Let me just say this 5 teams will be in the mix and to be a very, very strong qualifying. And let me remind you of something. Last year, during the Hungaroring weekend, Max Verstappen was nowhere around the FP1, FP2, FP3 qualifying. He came second. He was nowhere close to the top of the timesheet in those sessions. But there comes the race. He won the race by 30 seconds. That was last year Hungaroring. And will he be able to repeat the same? This is a new year, new cars. And they also have brought a new car. They are learning. So it's all about a lot of teams learning new cars. And the major top teams, I mean, Mercedes, RB, and McLaren. I'll say McLaren because it is a continuation of the car they had from last year. So they are still learning some new things. Ferrari, they've had a beautiful car since 2022. Just upgrading and doing some little things. Aston Martin, they've brought a big car from 2022. So it is easier for them. But those are the major 3 people learning their cars. But it will be tight. But the long run, tomorrow we would know where everybody is. But on the long run, I can tell you for the past 2-3 days, Max Verstappen looks very, very consistent on time. But consistency on time during practices or during testing does not signify how it will be translated into the race. Because the race reality is totally different from the race simulation or testing or practices. It's totally different because you are racing with another driver from another team that you don't know what they are carrying. And also during this FP3, we don't know what they are really testing, their fuel loads, the suspension or the wing balance is. We don't know. But during the qualifying, we will see the true picture. See, I can't wait for qualifying. I'm telling you. But the genius thing is this. The Red Bull have done a genius job. The Mercedes have done a genius job. And the Mercedes might be an underrated team this season because most analysts are picking Mercedes maybe as a 3rd in the constructor or 4th in the constructor. But for me, I think they are the most underrated team this season. Let's see what happens in qualifying and the first race of the season before we know how we set it all out. Yes, the qualifying is here, done and dusted. Oh my god, this is one of the craziest qualifying, as in, we don't know who is ahead. We don't know by what margin they are ahead. Let's see what is going to happen. And we were in the qualifying. It all went the way we didn't really expect it to go. Yes, we knew the outcome would still be Ferrari, Red Bull. Knowing Max Verstappen might still come up great, doing a great job. But it was spectacular. Something we can really say is a good start of the season. It's a very close, very, very close at the end for the top 10. Very, very close. But at the end of the day, it was a great qualifying. One of the best qualifying. The wind, the track evolution, the car setup, the unknown, the unseen for the themes, everything played all well to give us a beautiful qualifying. Now, from the Q1, the Alpine, we've always known, have been behind. Alpine didn't disappoint us. They still came behind 19th and 20th to start the new season. That is a poor and shambolic performance for them. Sargent carried on from last year and we thought he was improving, but this is the first qualifying of the season. Don't really do bad, but it's still bad. Coming 18th, that is way behind his teammate with the 2 kick Sauber coming 16 and 17 with Bottas ahead and Zhou Guanyu coming right behind him. But looking at what is happening in the qualifying, like I said, so many unforeseen things, so many things that the teams were not prepared for. The first race of the season, a lot of them are having new cars. Some of them are still trying to understand their setups, new languages, new things on the cars and in the teams. That really played a huge role in the qualifying. But for the Alpine team, their car is overweight. The engine is not giving the right performance. Then the aerodynamics is not up to par. And there are some things we are hearing about overheating, in which they've added more vents to the car. Not confirmed that yet, but if all these issues are coming together against this team, it is going to be a very, very difficult first part of the season for them, because we know they will be coming with upgrades. But the big mistake here is the car being overweight. Also, the engine issue had been sorted out. There's nothing they can do to the engine until the end of 2025 season. And also, on the overheating, they really need to improve to see what they can do to take out a lot of heat from the car. It is going to be a tough time for them. It's going to be a very, very tough time for the Alpine team. Now, going into Q2, the Mercedes struggled in Q1 to qualify. In Q2, they struggled, especially Lewis Hamilton struggling through. They almost used up all their tire allocation. But at the end of the day, they were able to sniff or sniggle it out to get to Q3 with Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, Alex Albon, Daniel Ricciardo, and Kevin Magnussen getting out of Q2 in that order. They really tried. The timing was close. The top 15 were about 9/10 within each other, which shows a lot of improvement from this team. And it shows also how the track evolution and also the way these teams have set up have affected them, because some of these teams really had a bad setup. They were able to compromise one teammate to another, like what Mercedes did. The setup for Lewis Hamilton is different from the setup for George Russell in that qualifying, to really get where they really need to get to know what is happening with their car and the kind of setup they need to come along with. I think some of these teams also did that. And talking about turning up the engine, the Red Bull and the Ferrari really came up with that. They tuned it up and they were going bananas as they sludged it out for the top 3 in the qualifying. That's the Q3, with Max Verstappen being able to peep out Charles Leclerc by some few tenths to take P1, Charles Leclerc taking P2, George Russell P3, Carlos Sainz 4th, Sergio Perez 5th, Alonso 6th, Norris 7th, Piastri 8th, Lewis Hamilton 9th, Nico Hülkenberg 10th. Nico Hülkenberg really gave it all to qualify with that ass in top 10. Lewis Hamilton struggled all through the qualifying, could not find the same pace he had yesterday. Like I said, they're having 2 different setups on their car. The McLaren did a good job, and for the top 9, they were about 5/10 away from each other, which shows how close this team have really gotten and how they have improved during the winter. The top 6 were 3/10 behind each other, which is nice. The McLaren have a decent pace. Let's see how these teams will stack up after the race tomorrow, but it's still looking like a race between the Red Bull and the Ferrari. But the Red Bull are looking strong on race pace, like Max Verstappen had done all through the testing and all through the FP1 to FP3. He's been very strong on pace. The Ferrari are strong on pace, but their pace is not as matching as it should match the Red Bull. While the Mercedes have quite not found the balance between the long run and the single lap. They're still struggling with this new car to get that. We will see tomorrow how they stack up. The Aston Martin has some quite decent pace, but will the McLaren be able to tackle the Mercedes and the Aston Martin? Will these all teams be able to bunch up tomorrow, stack up and give us a good race? We would know tomorrow during the race. But up until tomorrow, after the race, the Bahrain GP is looking out and it's looking like we are going to have a very, very good race in our hand. Though the Red Bull still look ahead, but we are going to have a very, 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 very good race in our hand. Up until tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Bye. Cheers.